out there? It's me. Ooh, I'm coming hot. I'm getting too hot. Let me lower those levels for you. It's I, your host, Isabella L. Price, coming at you from 104.9 KHUHLP Seattle. And you are listening to the Nocturnal Emissions Show live out of Seattle. God, I'm coming in real hot for you guys. Let me try to adjust these levels so I'm not blowing your eardrums out. All right, and I'm coming in from the station with a guest. I've got a guest, tall, dark, this looming figure that I saw outside in the pouring rain, and then he came in, and it was the very special guest, Jonathan Holbrook. Jonathan, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being on these stations,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm really glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this is your first time in the station.
Yeah, I walked into the studio and I was just like, well, this is a real studio.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, normally up until last year, we were only online. So we were only like a digital radio station. And we just now got through all the FCC regulations and everything like that. I already told you no cursing.
That's right.
You know, okay, watch your mouth.
I'll try the best I can.
Okay. Do not get me kicked off the show.
I won't.
Just got this gig. Yeah, and so now we're live on the radio. So yeah. So thank you so much for stopping by.
Absolutely.
Today we're going to talk about filmmaking. We're going to talk about your background, some of your latest projects that are coming out. Okay. And then let's just hang out and talk about movies and horror.
I'd love to.
Okay, and our traumatic childhoods. Texas.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, dope. So for everybody out there, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm an independent filmmaker. My day job, I'm a construction worker. Well, I drive for a construction company. Nice. And I film on the weekends, and I've been doing this. Really got into the filmmaking. I started going to school in 1990, and took the learned the technical aspects of film and everything, and did some extension programs at University of Washington in the mid 90s, and I just started doing films.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you started. Did you always want to be a filmmaker, or?
Ever since I was a kid, I've always been creative, and I always wanted to be an actor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and but then I do a lot of writing when I was a kid, just write short stories and stuff like that, and starting in elementary school, and then I would draw. And I loved photography and everything. I when I got into high school, they had a video program, and but I couldn't get into it because my grades weren't good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
What were you doing in high school? What kind of a kid were you?
I was kind of I guess a nerd.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. There's nerds nowadays though are like the popular kids when I was growing up. So yeah.
So I pretty much stayed. I just had a few friends and stuff, but I got along with everybody. Just steered away from the bullies. The typical. I was an artist.
Cool.
So
nice. And so you wanted to get in as an actor.
Yeah, and I didn't know how. And when I was in high school, I was really frustrated because I didn't know which direction to go because I loved to write and I loved to draw. So I was a cartoonist for a while for the school newspaper. I wanted to get into video production, but I couldn't do it, and I was just really frustrated. So when I graduated, I just did odd jobs here and there, and just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Yeah. And I did move to Santa Fe, New Mexico for a year. And that is when I first watched, it was like 1987, 1988. It was on HBO, and I was watching Blue Velvet from David Lynch.
Yeah.
I completely connected with that film for some weird reason.
Nice.
And I said, this is what I can do.
Yeah.
This is what I'll do. And so I tried to figure out how to get into film schools or whatever. Couldn't do it, and moved back to Texas for a while. And just nothing was really going on for me there. And so my car had got broken into, And so I called my dad up in Seattle, and I said, "Hey, is there any?" I was just stressed out, and I actually I lost my job as well. I was just a little careless on a forklift at 21.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I just called my dad and I said, "Hey, can I borrow some money or whatever?" And he says, "Well, tell you, or can I come up and visit, just take a vacation, whatever?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Why don't you come up in here and live? We've got a small college fund for you."
Oh, nice.
And so I looked at some colleges. Everett Community College actually had a film video program.
Okay.
And so I moved up here and I took that program. And the rest is history.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that because when I was watching the trailers for your films, there seemed to be a real Lynchian kind of a...
I've been told that. Yeah.
Yeah, have you?
He's a small influence. I like I like all the weird stuff, the weird dark stuff. Not just Lynch, but I can't think of the directors off the top of my head, but like David Cronenberg.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like all the weird, dark, perverse stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just attracts me.
I mean, like as a horror fanatic, I can't judge anybody,
That's
like
right, yeah.
I have no idea why I like horror movies, and so like to say like, oh, why you're attracted to these sorts of things, I think that everybody is attracted to darker, more things, but I think as horror filmmakers, we are not afraid of exploring that kind of a thing,
Exactly.
of like figuring out your personal connection. Were you always interested in making horror films or being in horror films?
I've always loved horror. But I mean, I would, if I had the opportunity, I would do a drama.
Really?
But I would hope they would be kind of have a dark twist to it.
Yeah.
I just like the dark. It may it sounds corny, but I think the reason why I like dark things is because in the dark things are hidden, and when you go into the dark, you find these secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
there's just a lot of behind the clothes, on the other side of the door, that a lot of people don't know about, and I'm just kind of into seeing what that is.
Are there any themes that you're attracted to? Any sort of like personal themes or aesthetic themes?
I'm really attracted to the kind of movies or the kind of stories that are self-destruction for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad. It's sad, but it's really interesting how a character or a person in real life can just self-destruct.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just make their lives a living hell.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Say that.
The hell word?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Well, the way I try to think about it is, would I say, can I speak this way in front of my grandmother? That's the way that I always, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Depending on what your grandma's like.
Yeah, my grandmother's dead, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm trying to think. Babies, kindergartners.
Okay, there you go. My daughter.
Okay,
there
yes, your daughter.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, she's heard some words too.
Well, so that's interesting. I mean, I think that from my experience talking to horror filmmakers and things like that, it just feels as though it's a particular kind of person that can get into that headspace, into writing something that is so dark and kind of reveals, I think, more so than any other genre, reveals more about the person who's making it, You can have a drama, and the drama is kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's a nice drama, but horror films really feel very personal, like they're revealing something.
Yeah. Well, and to be candid, with my childhood, I kind of went through a lot of dark stuff when I was a kid, and I think maybe that's an influence as well.
Yeah.
And I think I could probably speak for a lot of horror story writers and stuff that there's been a dark side that
definitely.
So I don't know. Maybe that's just kind of the conduit to. And
it can be like a form of healing.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I'm a pretty. The stuff that I do is really off the wall, but I'm a really normal guy.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can say that.
That's what serial killers always say.
Yeah. He was very quiet.
Yeah, he was just a normal person.
Yeah.
Unsuspecting, never knew.
Some people probably question me.
Well, that's cool. So you came up here, and so you started doing filmmaking when you came to the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
And did you find like a community of filmmakers, or was that difficult?
It was just a small clique at the college, I didn't really find the community until, God, I'd probably say 2014.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you always work with the same people, or is that a revolving?
Sometimes I prefer to, but I always like to reach out and see who else I can work with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but a lot of the people that I've worked, like my best friend Dave Schechter.
He's your producer, right?
He's a co-producer, and Earl Grey. He's a good friend of mine.
I love that name.
Yeah,
Is
I know.
his real name?
Yeah. That's his real name.
I saw that on the list, and I was like, this is the perfect
that's
fake
great.
name.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a great stage name, but it's his real name.
Yeah.
But I met them during the making of my TV series on Amazon called Still, and we just became really good friends after that, and they're just as passionate as I am, and we're three guys that still want to play cowboys and Indians.
Yeah.
And they help put the money into the films as well and stuff. We have an agreement, and but it's just about making the film.
Yeah.
So nobody's worried about the money or anything like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because that can be that's the challenge, I think, for a lot of people.
Well, I think another thing too. I think it also has to do with it. We all. Both Dave and Earl, they're professionals. So they have professional careers, and I have a semi-professional career as a driver. But we make bread and butter.
Yeah.
And so we're not really struggling. I think, and we all three of us put our money together, we can do something really cool.
Yeah. So it's not as though the filmmaking side of it is taking away from anything. You're doing it because you love it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have an agreement on how. Actually, it's not really a verbal agreement. It's to say it just turned into this, but like Earl, he'll take care of the food on the set,
nice,
and everything. So he takes care. I don't have to worry about that. So he does the catering and stuff, and the acting and the producing, and then Dave, he helps with props, and or if I need some extra cash for something, he's welcome to hand over his wallet.
That's great.
I mean,
limited. Yeah.
But we all put our money in equally.
So it's sort of this collective of like minds that came together.
Yeah.
And then you guys have just been making project after project.
Yeah.
And that first project started in what year?
Still started. It started. 2014.
Okay. Yeah. And you guys are still doing, because you guys did the last project together.
Yeah, we did. See, the ones that are the ones that I've done that are successful is Still, and it's like a 6 or 7. I can't remember. I can think it's a 7 episode thing. It's unfinished episodes too.
Okay.
I mean, the episodes are finished, but the series is unfinished.
Oh.
Because we had to. We just had to stop production because it just we were losing some actors to SAG and everything, and we're non-union,
right?
So I just don't want SAG hanging over my head.
Yeah.
And up here in Seattle, if you go SAG, it's hard to get work.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's really hard.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of I have some actor friends that have already that have turned to FICOR.
Okay.
Because they just can't get any work.
Yeah.
And I tell them, I'm not trying to be pompous here, but I tell them, well, I really like working with you, but if you go to union, I can't work with you anymore.
Is it the price that's associated with them? Their day
I think
rates?
it's just all the rules that you have to deal with and everything, because in indie filmmaking, there's a lot of rules that are broken.
Yeah.
And with my productions, they can run like 18 hours sometimes, or 13-hour days and everything. Everybody, people that climb on board, they understand that and they do it with me. But with SAG, you have to follow rules.
Right.
And
it's too complicated.
It is. It's too complicated.
Yeah.
It's too stressful.
Right.
And I personally have everything on my shoulders. Because when I'm producing, I wrote it, produce it, direct it. I act in it sometimes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and we provide the food and everything, and we have to babysit.
Yeah.
And it's real stressful.
Yeah.
And plus I do the post production as well, so I do everything.
How are you?
That's what everybody asks me. How? But I can do it. I don't know. I can't explain how, but Beloved Beast, the one that we're still working on, that's going to be coming out this year. we're going. I got sick just from being overtired and everything. I got bronchitis and everything. This was it all caught up with me probably about a month and a half ago.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and I'm fine now, but because I'm finally we're not producing, we're not in production anymore, so
yeah, you got
I
a break.
can rest.
Yeah. Wow.
Post production's the funnest part because that's when it's all being put together.
Yeah, I hate post production.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
I love being on set.
Yeah.
I love that kind of craziness.
See, I can't stand that. I don't like being on set. Yeah, I mean, I love to direct because I like to call the shots and everything.
Yeah.
But I love working with the actors. But it's just so stressful.
It's super stressful.
It's very stressful.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and I really do a lot. And I have just a few assistants that are held, a few PAs here and there.
Yeah.
I have an AD. Is Nick Shargus, and he's a wonderful AD. And I also had AJ. AJ, I'm sorry. Your last name just escaped me. But anyway, he helped me with ADing as well for Beloved Beast. But I basically, I do the cinematography as well, and so the AD is basically not a typical AD. He's basically my AC, which is the assistant camera.
Okay. Yeah.
And so he's helped me with the, in Beloved Beast, I'm the Beast.
So
I'm the guy in the rabbit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So directing, those scenes was really sheer hell. So I had to find somebody like Nick, who I could really trust and be behind the camera because he does camera work as well.
Okay.
So and he did a really good job helping me.
So for the listeners out there, can you give a synopsis about what Beloved Beast is about?
Yeah, Beloved Beast. It's about this little girl who. She's in a car wreck with her parents, and her parents die in the car wreck, and she's forced to go live with her unstable aunt, and so her aunt's just there for the money, just for the trust fund,
right?
And she's into the drugs, and she just makes bad decisions and everything, and people come in and out of her house and everything. So this little girl pretty much has to fend for herself, and so. She's told not to go out in the woods because bad things happen out in the woods. But what's the kid going to do? She's going to go walk out in the woods and have fun.
Exactly.
Right? There's another thing too. There's a sub story too that her father used to read this book called The Rabbit King to her, and it's a fictional book that's it's kind of one of the characters in the story.
Yeah.
And he would wear this mask and he would tell a story, and he'd read the Rabbit King book to her, and it's kind of like a Lord of the Rings type of thing to it, but anyway, so she kind of ties in what's going on in her real life with that book, and so you'll hear narration from his name's Ty Anderson, and he's a great voiceover actor, and he does kind of a Gandalf type of narration.
Yeah.
So there's certain parts in the story that are pivotal, and then his voice will come in, and she'll kind of it'll kind of be in her head that the story is taking place
Interesting.
now. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so anyway, but she meets up with an escaped lunatic named Milton Treadwell, and he has the mind of a 10-year-old, and he escaped from the local insane asylum. And so they meet up in the woods and they befriend one another. He pretty much saves her from some trouble that she gets into in the woods with some other kids. And so she ends up taking him home and hides him in the shed. Then all hell just breaks loose after that.
So this is kind of like a story of friendship, it sounds
like.
Yeah.
It's like a Beauty and the Beast type of thing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of... Because what I thought from the trailer is I thought, okay, this is like the escaped lunatic who like takes this girl hostage and things like that.
No. They,
cool.
And she kind of identifies, since he wears the mask now. Not to give away a lot of the plot, but when she's in the woods, she misplaces her mask, but she doesn't know that he's following her.
Oh.
And so so she leaves the mask in the woods because she's distracted by some other things that I don't want to talk about, but he puts the mask on and he saves her from a certain incident, and then when she looks up, she sees the Rabbit King. Yeah. And so that they just automatically connect with one another.
Interesting. Yeah. That's an interesting kind of perspective.
Yeah, there's a lot of subplot or sub-stories with Milton as well. Now, not to confuse people, but Harvey, there's a reason why his name becomes Harvey.
Okay.
I can't say that too because it's just going to run things.
I can tell that you're like so excited.
Well, yeah,
but you don't want to say. I know. I totally
it
get
drives
that.
me nuts.
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
I put out these little teasers all the time on the Facebook page and everything, and it just enough for people to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what you want, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But I just want to tell so much more. But
please don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got that, and how long did you write that? How long did you write it for?
Oh, it was kind of funny. I wrote it. I started writing it in let's see. I'm getting all the years all goofed up. This is 18. So 2016, probably around the fall, I started writing it.
Okay.
And I wanted to start production in March or April. And it was getting to the point where I was running out of time.
Yeah.
And so I said, screw it. We're going to go ahead and just start producing it. It's all in my head, and I'll write it as we go.
Okay.
And so we finished all the scenes that are already written.
Yeah.
And so when I knew I was running out of scenes, I had to kind of overlap it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I finally
lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why I got exhausted too.
Yeah.
Because I had to get the words on the paper.
Right.
Not just in my head.
Right.
Because I need the actors to, obviously.
I mean, because you're writing it, you're directing it, you're acting in it, you're producing it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, and I'll never do that again. I will always have a finished script.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it all turned out great.
That's good.
Yeah.
So when's the release date?
Well, I was talking to we signed contracts with my music composer. Her name's Sarah Broshovsky.
Cool.
And she's down in LA, and she found us on IMDb, and she heard about the story. She read about the story, the plot, and she said she wanted to help with this.
That's awesome.
So we had an agreement and stuff, and part of the agreement was that we try to have it done by April 15th.
Okay.
So that's my goal, and then we'll probably premiere it in May.
Yeah.
Maybe June, just depending on what's available. For the venue.
Are you going to release it online, or will it be?
I have to figure. I might do Vimeo on demand.
Yeah.
For a little bit. Mm-hmm. Just see how it's doing money wise.
Yeah.
Or how many people are watching it. For market reasons, but we're going to hit the film festivals.
Cool.
And in October, Dave, Earl, and I are going to go down to LA and go to the American Film Market and get in front of the big wigs.
Yeah.
And try to sell it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So.
I mean, there's so many people who, that's the way that they're going now, is that they're making their own stuff. They're not going to studios. They're making their own stuff, and then they're shopping them around, because there's so many different markets. You've got Amazon, you've got Netflix, Hulu. I mean, you've got so many different kind of online.
Yeah.
Even Vimeo on demand is a really great way. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And have you ever done the film festival circuit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did with Still. We went to web series festivals, and we collected some awards there. And
nice.
And when you go to a festival, a filmmaker shouldn't expect to find a distributor there. Someone. There needs to be. I do it to try to get the awards and try to get those laurels.
Right, because that
that's
helps,
good for
right?
It's marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's 20% filmmaking and 80% marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true.
And a lot of filmmakers, there's a lot of filmmakers out there that don't know how to market themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to create a brand with the Holbrookian,
cool.
horror. And because it's a different style of horror, because people when they watch it, they go, well, it's not quite a horror, but it's more like a thriller, or it's kind of funny, So I'm trying to create a brand with my name.
Nice. So you go to the festivals. You use the festivals as kind of like a way of getting like a reputation for the film.
Absolutely.
And then you use that as a way of like maybe selling the film or getting more people.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really smart. I mean, I feel like a lot of people put so much of their energy into making the film, and then once the film is done,
it just sits on the shelf.
Yeah, they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And so then it's just like, well, you got to get people to watch it, right? Like that's why you made the movie.
Exactly.
And so I think that that's a really, really smart approach, is to go down. I like film festivals because it's great networking, It's really nice to meet other people and see what other people are doing and things like that.
Yeah, people like you.
Yeah. Me?
Or like not you in general, but like People like me.
Okay. People like yourself.
Filmmakers.
Yeah. It is.
Because
Yeah.
it's kind of like a club.
It is.
Especially
horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's such an oversaturated market.
Yeah.
But it's probably the easiest way to get your film distributed.
Right.
Because there's such a huge market for it.
Right. Yeah.
People love it.
Right. And it's so, I've been thinking about this a lot, about this whole thing, because I have a friend that works with Shudder, and I've been trying to figure out that's really interesting to see that, because it's Shudder, I feel like could be the way for a lot of filmmakers to just sell their stuff directly and, get bigger and things like that. And also, Bloomhouse is another kind of model that I've been really looking at a lot, and like Blumhouse.
Yeah, I think I call it Bloomhouse.
Bloomhouse. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Jason Blumhouse. I'm sorry. Please hire me. But thinking about them because I was looking at the numbers for Get Out, and that margin, they broke the margin between oh my goodness, the witch movie. What is
Blair Witch?
Blair Witch,
Yeah.
yes. I almost called it the Amity Witch Horror. What's wrong with me?
I don't know. Could be a bad B movie.
That could be a really good mashup.
Yeah.
So that record of like how much it cost to make versus how much it made after it was released, Get Out broke that record, and then it just got nominated for an Oscar for Best Directing, which horror movies never make, like horror movies never get Best anything in the Oscars, So thinking about that, their model of taking things that are not really cost prohibitive, don't have a lot of cost to them, but have a lot of substance to them, and just sort of like translating that over.
Right.
And Shudder too, which is like Shudder will buy a whole bunch of stuff. They'll give it to you on a subscription basis, and then you can just go through and just...
I love Shudder.
Yeah. And you can
Shudder's
just
really cool.
watch it, which is like, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It makes the most sense.
It's a Netflix for horror.
It is, and like, how it is.
They're even doing their own original stuff now.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, because I was actually I just got Shudder a couple days ago. And because they're really marketed on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's the Shudder thing? And so anyway, I started skimming through it and stuff. And they have original series, and they also have original films.
Yeah.
Too. So they're doing the Netflix thing.
They are,
Yeah.
which is really smart because
Yes,
it does not, for a lot of horror, it does not take a lot of money, really.
No, it doesn't.
It's not like a historical drama where you need
No.
costumes and stuff like that, or sci-fi where you need a lot of effects and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, because I cut my teeth in Texas, where we would just make horror movies in the woods, like we would just go out and just a bunch of teenagers and throw blood on each other and stuff like that, which was kind of
it's very easy.
Yeah, very easy.
Yeah.
But not to insult any filmmakers, because making a film is hard.
Well, the hardest part is you need to find a good story.
Yeah.
You need to write a good story, because one thing that I cannot stand about horror, and I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash for this, but I can't stand a lot of those rehashed slasher flicks.
Yeah.
And whenever I see a plot line that says 5 teenagers, right there you lose me.
Right. Yeah.
I can't stand the teen movies. There's got to be some. There are some that are pretty good. Like there's It Follows.
It Follows. Yeah. It's just thinking about that.
It's stylistic horror, which I like.
Right.
But the franchise with that Juan's doing, the Annabelle and the Conjuring,
right?
And what's the other one? The Insidious,
right?
That's what scares the crap out of you.
Yeah,
So,
James Wan's whole thing. I've been thinking about that. Somebody said to me the Wanverse, which is like a very interesting.
Yeah.
Because they're all supposed to be connected with each other.
Yeah. That's genius. I think it's really great. It's that's kind of the geek factor for horror.
Exactly.
And it works
because you want to delve into that universe and you want to figure out what are the connections.
Well, so that's what I do with my films too.
Nice.
Everything takes place in the same town. It's called Slewtown. Town.
Really?
Yeah, it started with Still. And then in Tallman, my second feature, or my first feature that was successful, I don't mention Slewtown, but I like to think it's in Slough Town.
Yeah.
And then, but in Beloved Beasts, it's definitely there's a Slough Town.
Did you
Yeah.
plan that from the beginning?
Yeah, I did. Well, in Tallman, I didn't think about it, and then in Beloved Beasts, I was thinking, oh, Tallman, I should have mentioned something about Slough Town.
Yeah.
But all my other things, they're gonna take place. It's kind of like what King does with.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
With his town.
Yeah, what's the new King show that's coming out? Castle Rock?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, where like that they're taking.
It's a universe.
It's a universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking Castle Rock and they're putting all of the, well, not all of them, but a lot of King stuff.
Yeah, and I think a lot of King's old novels are going into this. It's just genius.
It's genius.
Yeah.
So they're connecting like Cujo together with
I
like
read that.
a whole bunch of his other stuff. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh man, well, I'm just gonna block out that whole entire week that they released that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited for that one. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think that's a really smart thing that people are doing, where they're doing it. It's about the larger story, you know. So it's not just about telling these sort of individual stories, but it's sort of how this all connects and makes sense and things like that, which I think is like what you said, the geek factor.
Yeah,
you want to delve more into it, and the lore of it.
Yeah.
I think people really like the lore of things,
Yeah.
you know, and so that's really interesting.
Yeah, because I guess what I'm not really commercial, you know, and I'm not successful yet either. But other than the fact that I've gotten one film distributed, well, I got still distributed onto Amazon,
which is huge.
Yeah, it's you don't make a lot of money though.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be candid. My first check for Tall Man was only $3,600.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a quarterly check, and but that was my first check for Tall Man. And I don't see any of it because it's deferred payment for the actors and the crew and stuff, so I have to pay everything.
Oh, that's for everything.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, not you get a quarterly check. And so, but you know, I think the first 3 quarters are crucial.
Yeah.
Because then they can just die down.
Right.
You know, it can just go into an archive. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of a bubble bursting kind of dose reality.
Well, yeah. If you're an independent filmmaker, you're not. I have a day job.
Yeah.
You know, unless you make that one breakout film, you know, and some people are telling me that Beloved Beast might be my breakout film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the people who've worked on it, they're just so excited about it because it's a cross between Halloween and Pulp Fiction. So it's very different.
Yeah. See, I was getting some Guillermo del Toro vibes from it.
Yeah.
You know?
People. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, Dan Crisafulli, he played Terrence in Tall Man, and he who's that Jean Leno? I can't remember his name. He did City of the Lost Children.
Oh yeah, Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Yeah, Jeunet. Yeah. And he compared some of my.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well. It's like a cross between Jeunet and Lynch.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Well, because Lynch, he does these very interesting characters. Like his character development is really fascinating.
I'm all about characters.
Yeah.
If you watch Tall Men, every character
that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
That's what I was picking up on. It was like these very
wait for the Beloved Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, every character in there is just phenomenal. It's like the acting
off people.
Yeah, they're kind of off. There's Paul Sobry plays the Belgian, and I can't tell you what he does in the movie, but because it'll just there's going to be some shock factor in it.
Yeah.
You know, not gore, but just like really uncomfortable stuff.
Okay.
You know, because what I do when I write, I want to confuse the audience and betray them somewhat.
Okay.
You know, because there's a lot of loose ends in Tall Men. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm starting to get it, and then whoa. You know, there's a lot of loose ends, but I do that on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll say, and I think you'll get it if the filmmakers get it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it has on Twitter gotten a lot of backlash and stuff like that. It's usually trolls too. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is this the younger generation? They want. I really feel like, I don't want to sound like a jerk here, but I really think they feel like that everything needs to be done for them,
right,
or needs to be explained to them,
right,
and they don't want to think,
right. Yeah.
You know, and you have to think. That's more like a psychological thriller as well, man.
It's difficult because it's like there is this sort of like there's sort of like hand holding, you know,
Yeah.
and like I don't know
And
how
then
to.
a lot of horror films do that too.
And they
It
do.
drives me nuts.
And I think that that is something, so people have this expectation
Yeah.
that you're going to hold their hand through it. So when
Yeah.
you don't do that, they're like,
They get
wait a second.
disappointed, yeah.
They're disappointed, you know?
Yeah, it's usually younger people that watch the horror stuff too,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Of course, then there's the old jaded people like me. Yeah,
Well, they want something new and they want something different,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So,
right.
yeah. Yeah, I experience that a lot. Like this sort of, I go on Twitter and I have these like Twitter fights, you know, with people
Yeah.
and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, my latest thing that I'm fighting with people on Twitter with is the latest Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, I don't like Star Wars.
You don't like Star Wars at all?
No, I liked it when I was
Well,
a kid.
it was great having you on the show.
I like Star Trek.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yes,
Well,
yes.
I just think Star Trek's more plausible because
Yes.
they're from Earth.
Yeah.
But you know, it's nothing about the rainbow and the unity stuff or anything like that. But I really don't think that there's Arabic people out in space on Tatooine, or there's
You didn't know
Hispanic
that.
people. But they're here.
I mean, the thing that drives me crazy with Star Wars is that they have this whole universe, and yet we're spending all of our time on just this one dude. Like, we're just spending our time on just Luke Skywalker. I'm like, I want to know about these aliens that are happening. The thing that I grew up on Star Trek. I grew up on The Next Generation. That was my big one.
Yeah,
I
loved that show.
Yes, and it was very believable that we would be like, okay, for the greater good, we're going to explore, and there were so many different kind of themes.
It made sense.
Yeah. And have you heard about the new Quentin Tarantino?
Oh yes.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah, with him and JJ.
Yeah,
we know.
You know, Tarantino. You know,
JJ. Yeah.
TT as I
know.
call him.
Yeah, that's just really strange that Tarantino's going to do that.
It's so
I thought he was
weird.
going to quit filmmaking.
I know. He keeps saying that though. Yeah. But he keeps saying that so that when he doesn't, when he breaks it, then you have to go see the movie.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, oh, he came out of retirement for this one, you know, and so, which is kind of smart.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not excited for. I'm not a big fan of J.J. Abrams' version of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it embodies the spirit. I feel like if there's anything that we need right now, it's this sort of like the spirit of discovery and scientific exploration and like curiosity about, you know, and JJ, it just felt like lens flares and explosions.
It was all about visual stuff.
It was all about visuals and like this bromance in space and stuff like that. It was like, all right, I get it. Kirk and Spock, it's super cute, but like there's other things happening right now.
Yeah.
And now with this, like there was somebody had cut together this like Tarantino trailer of Star Trek, and it's just they just like every time somebody said Vulcan, they bleeped it out. So,
really?
So it's just like all these. It's the original Star Trek with Kirk, you know, and so of course it's just all the scenes where he's punching somebody.
Yeah, right.
All the scenes where he's making out with an alien girl.
Right.
And now I can't stop thinking like, oh, that's exactly what that's gonna be.
Yeah.
You know, because I've never. When was the last time I saw Tarantino make something that did not have curse words in it?
I don't think there's any of them.
Yeah. And Star Trek, you know, nobody gets called the N-word in Star Trek.
Oh, I know. So, I know.
Like, I'm not happy. I'm actually anxious.
What is that racial word in Star Trek?
Is
Is there a racial word, or is it Star Wars? Isn't there a racial word?
Is there? Is there one that like the like maybe the Vulcans use or something like that?
Oh, maybe I'm thinking Nerf herder.
Nerf herder, yeah, that's a Star Wars.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what Princess Leia called.
Yeah.
Called Han.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if there is one. I feel like there's maybe something that's in not what's the language called in Star Trek? Man, I am not good tonight.
A language?
Yeah, that You know,
Klingon?
Klingon.
Oh, Klingon.
Yeah. Man, I'm not on my A game tonight.
Oh, that's okay. I'm here.
Thank you so much covering for me. Yeah, I feel like there's a couple of really racist words in Klingon.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So maybe that'll be what Quentin Tarantino does. Is he'll just do like Klingons just murdering everybody, and
he'll probably have to do something.
Yeah,
there needs to be violence.
Super.
Who did that Tarantino blood spray?
Yeah, which is like, I don't know. I'm not excited for it. I'm not. You know, I
still want to see it.
Yeah,
I want to see what he does. Yeah, I'm not stoked to see it, but I like to see what he does with it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, Tarantino was a huge influence on me. You know, like Kill Bill Volume 1 was like, that was everything. You know, and so, do you have any sort of films that you love that have come out this year or
this year? Mm-hmm. Yes, God, there's so many of them. Gosh, you see, when people ask me that question, it's just at the top of my head.
And now you're live on the radio. So.
You know, I just watched Mom and Dad with Nicolas Cage.
I heard about that.
It's really cool. Yeah? Yeah, it's just weird. It kind of falls short at the end, but I think that's, it made sense why it did that. Yeah. But, yeah, I liked it.
So he's coming back. I think he's embraced the weird.
Yeah. You know, he cages it out in the and
I love
there's just certain things, like there's a part where his kid, this is when the parent, it's like a virus or something, and the parents want to kill their children because like children are just little, you know,
what's your language?
Essence. But you know, it's little teenage stuff, you know, that my daughter does to me. Like you literally want, I hate to say this, but you want to kill your kid. Right. And I thought it's a pretty brave film for this writer or director or whoever did it. They made this film that, you know, I think a lot of parents are going to like this film. Yeah. Yeah. But they only want to kill their children. Yeah, only their kids. Yeah, they think it's wrong for anybody else to do it, but if they kill their kids, it's okay. Yeah, and it's like they want to kill their kids.
Well, see, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking this is so smart. One is because everybody can relate to wanting to murder their own children, right?
Yes.
But then also everybody can relate to the fear of your parents, you know, of like not of like. The one person that you should be able to trust should be your parents. Right. You know, like
no, we should backtrack for a second. We need to be clear. We don't want to kill our children, but there's times when you feel like you want to. Right. But not all the time. Right. Because usually, my kid's a pretty good kid. Okay, good. I gotta say that. She's gonna listen to this. And then,
no. Yeah. All right, Dad.
No, she's 14. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling of just, you know, that the exhaustion that comes with being a parent, you know, and so.
Well, yeah, I have a friend of mine that I drive, one of my co-drivers at work, and he and his girlfriend, they're going to eventually get married. They've been together for 7 years, whatever. They're doing the Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell thing. Yeah. But they're eventually going to get married. But I said, so can you guys have kids? And he says, hell no. I'm not going to have kids like that. And I was like, wow.
Well, see, people my age, like in their 30s, nobody wants kids.
Yeah.
Nobody my age wants kids.
We don't need any more kids.
I kind of
look what's happened to the millennials.
Listen, as a borderline millennial, listen, we get a bad rap, all right?
Yeah. Well, you're okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you're fine.
Thank you. Yeah. The one that you're okay with. Yeah. At least we're not eating Tide Pods like these other kids.
Yeah. Or these YouTubers.
Yeah.
They drive me nuts. My daughter just loves watching that stuff. You know, watching them. You're watching somebody else play video games. Right. You know, it just does make, and they act like morons.
Do you know how much money those guys are making?
Oh, I know. It really ticks me off. Do you know how much
money?
Buku bucks.
Yes, they're making millions of dollars.
Well, what's that convention that they have, that con thing?
VidCon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kids like that. I would never want to go to that.
Is that your personal hell?
Yeah, it'd be Mom and Dad Part 2.
Yeah. That would be a good sequel of just you're at a convention full of kids.
You know, I really have I like kids. I like mine best.
Of course.
You know, but you know, because I know how I've raised her, and she's a really good kid and everything, but yeah, other kids, I can't stand them.
It's interesting. Like I'm very interested in doing that. You know, I'm very interested in getting on YouTube and trying to get a little bit of the YouTube pie. You know,
I won't do it.
Listen, I saw how much those guys are making, and I was like, I could maybe do this too. You know?
It depends on what you're doing too.
Yeah.
You know, video games don't. You know, and you have the funky hair and you know the skinny jeans, and you know you're playing video games.
The thing that drives me crazy is that they're all screaming, and that's the thing that drives me insane.
I can't stand that. And what they say doesn't make sense. What's that game? With the bears,
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, and they're always playing that. Yeah, and it's like, oh my god,
that's the one where I'm watching it, and they're so it's like a horror game, you know. And
who's that Asian guy that does that?
Markiplier.
God, my daughter watches him all the time, and he screams all the time.
There's one guy.
I hate that guy.
He's like one of the biggest ones. There's like PewDiePie, who's the biggest.
Just the name. Yeah, PewDiePie.
I know, that name is like, I mean, because you have to get a name like that. You have to get a name that appeals to children.
Yeah,
so you have PewDiePie, you know. Then there's the three of them are Septiceye, Jacksepticeye, and Markiplier.
That's ridiculous.
The thing though is that I'm just like, I could sit at my computer and play video games and make $1 million. I could do that.
I could be a YouTuber and talk about horror movies.
Yeah, you totally
or just movies in general.
Yeah.
I could do that. But I couldn't. No, I don't like video games either.
Okay.
I've never really. I remember Atari when it first came out. It had the wood panel, and had Knight Rider.
Yeah.
It was just one knob, or Pong, or Pitfall. You know, you just had one joystick. But now it's just like my daughter can kick my butt at Halo.
Well, have you gotten into VR at all?
VR.
Yeah, the VR virtual reality.
Oh, I tried that one time, trying to walk across a bridge.
Yeah.
I almost killed myself
oh my God.
in my living room
because you were so freaked out.
Yeah. Well, my buddy Dave, he bought one of those things for his Samsung. You know, and there's this app that you can climb mountains and stuff, and you'll fall.
Yes,
you'll fall. You have to hold on to something.
Yes.
It really screws you up.
Yeah,
I love VR.
Yeah,
VR is cool.
I feel like VR. I played the Resident Evil video games.
Yeah.
There was a VR Resident Evil video game, and that.
Well, see, I would play VR video.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but I'd have to be physical. I'd have to be carrying my gun and everything. You know, like go into a room.
Yeah.
Like you do in Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's a hollow room or something. A hologram room? Holodeck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's eventually going to happen.
Well, see, this is the thing, though. So when I played that game, though, first of all, it was the scariest experience I have ever had in my entire life. Like, I go to haunted houses, and I think it's fun, and I do that, you know. But this experience of going through this game was, I think it, like, there was a point in the game, and it was, it felt like an hour for me, but it probably was only 5 minutes, where I was like, no, and I had to, like, walk away, because it was starting to do something with my perception, where it was really starting to feel like this was really reality.
Yeah. But see, that's a danger, too, with this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like an iPhone with a kid.
Yeah.
You know, it just sticks to them.
Right.
You know? And I think... You know, it's kind of interesting how they're going to go even into the eroticism stuff and everything with virtual reality. And people it's going to be like crack.
Yes.
You know, and people are just going to loop that stuff over and over again.
Well, they already do that, though.
Yeah,
there's already a thing where it's like you can buy a doll and you can do the virtual reality. And there was this guy on Twitter. It was so funny.
What's that website?
I'll write it down for you later. There was this guy, though. He was hilarious. He was like, all right, women, it's over. It's done. And, like, all these women were like, bye.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
I mean, that's kind of, but I do think that's.
Men will not leave their homes. I can guarantee it.
Listen, that's fine. We will take over. You guys want to stay
you already are.
If you want to
this Hollywood thing, you guys are taking over already.
You want to leave the running of the country to us. You can stay at home with your virtual reality wives. You can do that. But so there's. I really do feel like that's the future.
I love my wife.
You could say that now. I like how you're saying all these things.
No, I'm just talking about other guys who would do something like that.
Sure. Yeah. I do feel like that's the future. I feel like that VR technology.
It's
I
gonna be
mean,
nuts.
it's gonna be
It's gonna be
huge.
scary.
That's what I'm saying. Is like
Yeah.
that. It was terrifying. Like
Yeah.
it really.
I mean, people
scared
are
me.
already getting out of reality just
Mhm.
just with all this social media stuff and
Mhm.
everything, and
Mhm.
they have like a million friends. You don't
Yeah.
know anybody.
Well,
You
that's the
know?
whole thing with Slenderman. I mean, like, have you
Yeah.
heard about that whole thing that happened?
Oh
Where,
yeah, I saw that documentary.
oh, did you?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the I forgot what it was called. I think it was called Slenderman.
I think it was, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Slenderman or something like that. I mean, that was something that started online, and everybody knew that it was just an online joke, you know.
Yeah.
And then it just started to turn into these things where people would be like, "No, I saw him, you know," and then it would just be, it
Yeah.
just grew and grew and grew, and then you had a bunch of these girls who tried to kill somebody,
Yeah,
you
right,
know,
right.
and to see that whole progression.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in the beginning
But
when
did you see the parents though that they interviewed?
No.
The parents were kind of out there.
were they?
Well, they weren't really. They didn't. They just let their kids do anything they wanted.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, these kids. You know, I really think it has to do with the parenting too.
Oh yeah.
Because whenever my kid has an iPhone and we're in my truck or whatever,
Mhm.
you know, driving or whatever, and she's just kind of like that, it drives me nuts. I say
Yeah.
you have to put that away.
How do you
Look
not
out the
know?
window.
I mean, like, but how do you not know that your child is like believes in a fictional monster so much
Oh, my daughter's smart. She
that
won't.
they are
Yeah.
willing to murder somebody? That as a parent, like,
Well, I think a parent needs to pay attention to that stuff.
yeah,
You know, and you know, I'm sure that they just throw a computer in front of that kid, and the
Yeah.
kid just does whatever they want because it's convenient for the parent.
right,
You know?
yeah, yeah.
I see parents do that all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even with my
This is
my
parenting
niece,
101.
just this is like we're just
Call
doing
Jonathan Holbrook.
to parenting.
Yeah.
Let's just rant about parenting.
This is called the show Cards on the Table.
This is good material.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that for a lot of people, it is an easier sort of a thing, you know. But I do think that the more that it crosses over, the harder that distinction will be between the virtual world and the reality world. And so that's really interesting. I've seen some really interesting new horror films come out through VR.
Yeah.
That technology of really being inside. I actually just watched this thing where it was talking about the responsibility that horror filmmakers have in VR because it's shocking, you know. You can't do too much because you might scare people literally to death, you know.
Well, what's that movie where Christopher Walken was in? It was in the 80s. It was called Mindscape or something.
Yeah.
And they have these virtual reality things, and this is the porn thing I was talking about, where somebody he knew, he wasn't hearing from a friend of his or somebody he knew. Or I think the guy was a bad guy or something. But anyway, they came to his house, and he was sitting in his chair, and he was just kind of like near heart attack.
Yeah.
And what had happened, so Christopher Walken takes the headpiece off to see what he's looking at. He puts it on, and it's basically, what it is that people can record their thoughts and sell them. And so there was somebody having sex.
Yeah.
Okay, can we say that?
Yes.
Okay. That's a real word.
That is a real word.
Yeah, it's a legit word. So it was right at the climax. That guy edited it and just looped that over and over again.
Oh,
so it was just a continual.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes. So the guy, and so of course Christopher Walken, he just goes and he takes it off really quick,
Yeah, yeah.
But,
well, it makes you think of the New Flesh. It makes you think of oh man, what's the name of that movie with Debbie Harry?
Videodrome.
Videodrome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we really are going to have to start having conversations about how close reality gets to fantasy and stuff like that. But I think that the horror genre is kind of moving into that in a lot of different ways.
I'm just sticking to film. That's it.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
But we are almost out of time.
I knew it.
Which is crazy.
It's already been an hour?
It's almost 10. We're about 6 minutes.
How long is your show?
It's an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Want to talk about my movies then?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please plug everything. Tell us where we can find you. What you're doing next.
You can go to my website, chroniclefactory.com. And you can also go, if you want to learn about Beloved Beast, you can go to belovedbeastmovie.com. you can go to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Beloved Beast Movie. But you get everything if you just go to my website, chroniclefactory.com. You'll see all the stuff that I've done, and it also you have a button to connect to my Facebook pages too.
So what's coming up next?
Beloved Beast, we're still working on. That's going to be coming out soon, and then I'm taking a break.
Nice.
For I'm not going to do a full length feature, but we're going to probably do a couple of shorts in the summertime. So I've got one that I'm developing right now called Month, and it's kind of a I guess you can say it's a let's see what's a good pitch. It's a over-exaggerated. It's a husband's over-exaggerated point of view of his wife PMSing.
Okay.
And but it's not just going to be a trite thing like that. It's going to be a little more surreal.
Yeah.
Where things are going to be kind of demonic a little bit. But there's going to be kind of a subplot that she's a widow, and it's a midlife crisis thing too, because he's Dave Schechter is going to play the husband, and the wife is in her mid-20s, and he's in his 50s. So there's that thing like, why is a young woman with an older guy? That's creepy. There's only one reason why, because she's got a daughter, so she needs somebody to help. But there's also her previous husband died mysteriously.
Okay.
And so there's things are going to tie in with that.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy in Colombia that I got in touch with, that he and I connected with together on Facebook in one of the film groups, and he sent me a script because I was looking for scripts to do, and it's kind of interesting. It takes place in one room, and it still needs some work. Because I called him back and said, we need a little bit more meat to it. Because right now it was a little bit too perverse, and it just we need to lighten it up a little bit. But it's a kind of a cool, weird story.
And you're filming.
And there's a mannequin in it.
Okay.
So
I don't like mannequins.
But Well, There's a creepy scene with the mannequin, which is it's kind of interesting. So.
Okay, so this is all slated for 2018?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So
this break that you're supposed to be on is
but they're short films. So we only film on the weekends, and so it'll be maybe 5 13-hour days.
Cool.
So.
Well, the next DJ is here, and I think our time is up.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Nobody can hear this handshake.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and I look forward to your next projects.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and remember, stay spooky. Bye.